All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to talk about what the WBO president Paco Varcarcel, hope I'm not killing his name, had to say about the Errol Spence Terence Crawford fight and Josh Taylor. Let's talk about that in this video. Welcome back to the channel. We're going to talk about the welterweight division and one hurdle moving out of the way of one of the biggest fights that can be made in boxing, and that is the Terence "Bud" Crawford versus Errol Spence Jr. fight. Before I get into that, though, please let me welcome you back to the channel. Again, thank you guys so much for continuing to watch the channel. Even though I've been dropping a lot of videos over the last day or so about Jamal Charlo and Canelo Alvarez, which always runs me afoul of a lot of people, I appreciate you coming back for this video. Also, if you are not subscribed, I would invite you to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon, and then select all notifications so you can be notified of when we release more videos. Also, if you do wager on sports, please take advantage of our betting partner, BUSR, at busr.ag/Fanon. Use the promotional code Fanon, and there's always promotions running over there that you can take advantage of. So let's get into this. Josh Taylor, who is at the moment, the undisputed champion at 140 pounds, despite him getting what I consider to be a gift decision against Jack Cottrell, has decided that he is going to move up to 147 pounds. Before he said that he would move up to 147 pounds, he was made the WBO super champion by the WBO. And what that means is that when he moves up, becomes the mandatory challenger for Terence Crawford. Now, if he was to move up and the Terence Crawford Errol Spence Jr. fight could be in jeopardy because of this, because he has another mandatory. It's not, you don't have to wait. And unlike other mandatories, it's not that he was going to be waiting around and we're going to figure out when they would order a mandatory fight and then you have to turn around and do it. He immediately becomes a mandatory when he moves up. Similar to when Terence Crawford moved up to 147 pounds, he immediately became the mandatory for Jeff Horn, who had beaten Manny Pacquiao to become the WBO champion. Now, Jeff Horn did get one fight in between against a guy named Gary Cochran, beat that guy in that fight, but then he went on to fight Terence Crawford and lose, and Terence Crawford became the WBO champion. So, but now Paco Varcarcel has clarified what the situation is with Terence Crawford and insists that he will not have to fight Josh Taylor right away for that mandatory title, and that Terence Crawford will get 18 months in which to satisfy that mandatory challenge. Which means, provided that the Errol Spence Jr. Terence Crawford fight happens this year, that Terence Crawford will be free to fight Errol Spence Jr. and will not have to worry about the Josh Taylor mandatory. Now, what I would say to that, though, is the way that it seems, however, is that, this is just me. It may not be you. It's just, a nature of my, my profession, nature of my education. I really do read, specifically what Paco Varcarcel said. He said that Terence Crawford has up to 18 months to face a mandatory title. Now, there's a couple ways that you can interpret that. That means it could mean that he has 18 months to defend it, and that's just period. It's 18 months, and he's not going to be ordered to fight for up to 18 months, right? Or he will not be ordered to fight anybody for 18 months. But when the 18 months is over, that's the deal, right? However, if you read that, it could literally mean things like, I agree that I will pay you up to $10,000, right? Up to $10,000 could be at my discretion, and I could say, yeah, I paid you $600. I paid you $600. That falls in the category of up to $10,000, right? It's not $11,000, which falls outside of up to that, right? So I'm not sure in the way that they word that, and you have to pay attention to these things when you're paying attention to sanctioning bodies. Whether that they mean that they have to up to 18 months to order you or before they strip you, but they could order you somebody to do something in 6 months. It could order you to have a fight in 9 months. But I'm going to trust it that they're not going to do that, because the question was answered they answered that question in direct relationship to Josh Taylor moving up as the WBO super champion and Terence Crawford having fought Sean Porter. I do believe he fought Sean Porter back in November. So all is good, in that regard. At least it seems that way, that he's not going to be able to be forced into that fight. However, I will tell you that, if I'm not sure whether or not Terence Crawford is going to fight Errol Spence Jr. in the next fight. If that doesn't, and then again, it may really be something that doesn't matter, because Terence Crawford himself said that if he can't get that Errol Spence Jr. fight next, that he's going to be moving up to 154 pounds, and he could be trying to become the super champion to get the mandatory shot for the WBO champion. That would either be Brian Castano or Jermell Charlo, or the winner of that fight, really depending on whether or not the WBO allows, or excuse me, is it the WBO? I believe, yeah, exactly. Whether the WBO allows Brian Castano to push the fight back further. And I do believe that they're going to allow him to do that, because Tim Tszyu, who currently is his mandatory, is already, booked to fight for within the next couple of months to fight Goshaw in Minneapolis. So it doesn't look like the Tim Tszyu fight is going to hold up the Brian Castano versus Jermell Charlo rematch, because he's active. But, all of this politics, man, in boxing I can understand how it gets a little bit old for people. For me personally, it doesn't get old at all. I enjoy it. It's, having been a boxing fan for so long, it used to bother me when I was in my, when I was in my 20s, and I would be like, man, why can't we just get this fight? Why can't we get this fight? But over a period of time, going through the Manny Pacquiao, Mayweather stuff, eventually, the politics and behind the scenes type of stuff started to be of some interest to me, especially when you study it enough and you look at enough where things start to become predictable. You know what I mean? But anyway, I take this as good news. I'm no longer worried about him throwing Josh Taylor in there. Now, that's not to say that Terence Crawford won't take the Josh Taylor fight, get offered something by Bob Arum, and then those guys go to Scotland to have the fight. I know Bob Arum still wants to do that, but it doesn't look like they're going to slap a mandatory on him right now. So anyway, that's my take in the matter. You let me know what you think in the comment sections. Will be greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for your support and continually listening to the videos and all that. Hit that like button on your way out the door. And with that, I'm out. Peace.